трансляции, что там? Не понял юмора. А почему? Трансляция идет. Так.
The mother of humanism stands up. Why? That does seem to be a problem. Maybe you meant something else. The mother of humanism.
Так. Выбора.
Yes,
Выбор.
what is it?
Логика. Не знаешь про серость.
The swallow, you mean? What? Great. Thank.
Yo, mate, what's on your mind?
Концентрация. Концептуализация.
Welcome back.
Вот это, походу, уже все. Да?
Oh, hey, man, it's good to see you. Goodbye, officer.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore! Yeah! It was awesome! And scary! Very hard. Too hardcore, in fact! I couldn't control it! At all! It sucks up all the air in the mix until it's the only thing left! Starts compressing itself and everything around it. Completely
Inside your chest, the heart beats still with the after effects of the sound. Imagine if you could harness that power, making it pulse.
Oh! I don't know. Maybe someone can do something with this. I imagine this is the sounds that the future could make. Yeah! Tape! Yeah! Spin the tape until the space escape! Yeah! Righteous! No! No, can't do! This is gonna make people sad! This isn't sadcore! Yeah!
Чувак на потолке, это нормально? Там живой еще остался после всей хуйни? Ладно, все здорово. А. Ладно. Тут вроде всё. Тут дверь. Хуй. А, мы проверяли. Так, дай подумать, дай подумать, дай подумать, дай подумать.
An old door, worn by element.
Нужно очень много всякой хуйни. Да. По проверкам. Створка грузового контейнера. Риторика. Ну, понятно. Полицейская волна. Нельзя. Спящий в порту рабочий ушло. Томми Леом, блядь. Не помню. Головомер, блядь, тоже нет. Тит Харди, блядь, авторитет нахуй надо. Джойс Мессе. Хуй знает, кто ты такой. Лилиан Рыбачка. Штанга грубосига. Резчик игральных костей, трепет. Дверь в церковь. Проебана Нойк. Андре. Тут, извините, мои полномочия как бы и все. Закончено. Там, блин, делать нехуй. Найти чувачка, который где-то здесь гоняет, блядь. Вот он. А я могу что-то повысить даже. Что непонятно, правда, только. Да, еще я хотел посмотреть вот эту хуйту. Решение. Бонус от мысли. -1 трепет, 2 ногами на земле. -1 внутренний империи, скучно, но надежный. Лимит улучшения всех навыков повышается до 3. Ага. -1 логика. А почему? Ну да, нужно открыть. Это то, что я получу, да? Чудо. -2 сумрак. Много, по-моему, для сумрака -2. Логика. Давайте. Гийом. А что мне это даст? Ладно, займемся тогда вот такой хуйней. Хуяк. Хуяк. Авторитет. Похуй. Трепет -1, блять. Да ладно. Я хуй знаю, что из этого говна изучать, но то, что я могу, блин, пойти качнуть конкретно, это логика. А остальное все мне терять очень неохота. Но логика, блять. Нет, в пизду. Похуй, сумрак. Блять, ну и выбор, блять, конечно, внушение. Не ебу. Просто пойдем по порядку. Что это значит? Да, блять. Здрасте.
As you approach, the man turns and greets you with a
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not expecting to run it. What brings you down to the scenic Martinez coast? Well, that's très simple. I was visiting the fishing village just north of here. They have applied for a series of microloans to revitalize. And then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to stroll down here. It's quite peaceful, isn't it? Yes. There's nothing like a stroll along the coast to lift one's spirits. Really? Here? How can you be sure? Ah? Is that what those pockmarks are? I might have guessed.
You feel like there's something you could say here, if only you really knew what was going on.
Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer. My friend, if it's la responsabilité you're after, I have good news for you. There's no...
God, of course it does.
The Comité de Responsabilité de Revachol. It acts as a sort of clearinghouse for coalition activities. To put it simply, they are the ultimate arbiter.
Yes, this is just the sort of reasonable authority you're looking for.
I would offer to connect you with the committee myself, but alas, I am not actually...
What? Where is he then? He's speaking figuratively. He means he's not in Martinez in his official capacity.
Précisément. Officially, I am still in La Delta, preparing for... That's why it would be extremely irregular, or potentially even inappropriate for me to intercede with the committee concerning a district I'm not officially in. Well, under ordinary circumstances...
In other words, the committee only knows what it...
But if you have information of a vital interest, they might be willing to entertain an exception. In which case, I would advise you to contact them via Coalition Warship Archer. You see, in addition to being an airborne artillery platform, Coalition Warship Archer is also the linchpin of the Coalition's surveillance and communications infrastructure in Revachol. And listening, it has the most objective vantage point in the entire city. Not to mention a vast array of radio. I find it a great comfort to know there are benevolent powers watching over all, in strict accordance with the Wayfarer Act and the Bristlemune... This is quite the problem. Very tricky. Of course, the Archer has orders to fire on any unidentified aerostatics, but in that case, you would require a radio transmitter capable of broadcasting on Coalition frequencies. And that, I suppose there might be some way to circuit bend your way onto those frequencies, but you'd have to be one of those techno-tinkerers to... Unfortunately not. No. I don't have the pleasure. I am merely a representative of the coalition government, not...
Sounds like something that programmer we met in the church might be able to have.
Let me just say that I have complete confidence in the RCM. I'm sure you'll figure some... Always my pleasure.
Да ну я, блядь. Ну-ка. Ибо проблема с риторикой, которая у меня... идет лесом, правильно? Столько шмоток. Товарищ Тимофей предлагает мне сходить купить еще. Так, вот это что такое? Эквилибристика. Давай-ка визуальный анализ. О, риторика, ебать. Здрасте. Давай-ка повторим кое-что.
Always my...
Ах ты пидор.
Always my pleasure.
Ладно, понял тебя. Выход вообще есть отсюда? И нет. Ладно. Бегом. Бегом куда-нибудь туда. Вот туда можно? Вот сюда. Что, нельзя так сделать? А вот можно все побежать. На автомате. Хочу ли я? С этой хуйты. Нахуй мне такая лица сдалась? Нахуй я вообще взялся за этот тест? Ёбаный ли полностью, бля. Моралисты мне не шибко. Заходит.
Yes, what is it? You're asking me to circuit bend onto coalition radio frequencies. You want to know is it possible? Probably. The main difficulty will be finding an antenna powerful enough to reach those frequencies.
She's not joking. Even the RCM has to receive special approval from the coalition to access that kind of equipment.
I highly doubt it. That tower is barely able to transmit shortwave signals across the bay. To generate megalow frequencies, we're going to need a much...
She has an idea, though. You can see that.
I don't see any alternative. We're just going to have to build the antenna ourselves. Yes, from a technical view, it's not even difficult. We need metal, a lot of it. The taller the structure, the better. Something that is both prominent and easily accessible. If it's near a power source, even better.
Охуеть. %83 шанс неплохой. Я могу его увеличить. Концептуализация. Иди сюда. Формирование концепта в голове — это, конечно, сильная тема. Наверное. У кого концепты рождаются. Тот мало. До еще. Выебываться. А, ну так чудненько. Здрасте.
Yes, what is it?
Close your eyes. Unfold your mental map of Martinez. It's morning. You're standing on the plaza before the whirling in rags. Your eye follows the tiles west. You see a bench and a few twisted, pitiful trees. Then, beyond the unkempt backyard, rises a monstrous assemblage of concrete, plaster, and corrugated sheet metal. You turn around. The morning sun is blinding. You bring your hand to your brow, and a great shadow materializes.
The dead king and his horse. It could work. We'll need an adequate power supply and a great quantity of cable. If we connect the cables to some of the stranded lorries, we could theoretically increase the antenna's wavelength.
Whatever ambivalence she had about your project before, she's now fully engaged in solving this technical puzzle.
Quiet. I'm doing maths. Yes, assuming it's completely ridiculous, but I believe we could transform the entire roundabout into one solid
A note of awe in her voice. She's shocked and pleased by her own audacity.
Yes, very likely the largest private, and I have plenty of cables and amplifiers on hand. The power supply I will secure on my own. All we require now is the radio transceiver itself. I cannot answer that for you, but I don't expect it to be that difficult. If you have real to spare, you might even be able to buy one. But it doesn't really matter where it comes.
And before you ask, no, you can't have the radio from my kinema.
That sounds like a perfectly adequate radio. Certainly, though it requires a fair amount of technical finesse to remove them. Frankly, it's not worth the bother. Just find a regular radio.
Радио в офисе рядом с портом. А, понял, где это.
In the meantime, I will gather the rest of the materials. We will meet back here when you have it.
Ну что ж. Так, ладно. Бежим. Да, блядь.
The scruffy-haired little boy.
Our tenant, the policeman.
Так, в принципе, говорить нечего, с алкашами я что-то не горю желанием общайкаться. Нахуй мне ты, блядь, респонсибилити, блядь. А, ну да, логично. Отжать у них куртки, блядь.
That rider's fucking. Hey, piss. Look who it is.
Сумрак.
Shrunken cophead material.
14. А где Марау, блядь? Пошел лечиться.
Hello, dear. Thank you for doing that, dear. Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him. Yes. Field work is a young person's game, as they say. Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I...
Very strange. Why is she not letting me do this? It's like she's given up.
Different? How? I'm not. It's a strange feeling. Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that?
Hunching her shoulders now. She seems even smaller than she is.
Seeing the Insulindian phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real. Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone. No, at least I don't think I did, but that I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That, but now we're both getting old and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for...
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything.
Блять, а я в нарушение не одет, извините. Но шанс 58. А отменить разговор нельзя.
But it has, hasn't it? A seed can only bear what's inside. The seed of love, it has a taste you're quite familiar with.
Сука! Ну и хуй.
Might be right, Detective. I was a paraplegic before we...
She has to swallow to relax her throat. It's keeping her from talking.
Maybe. But then why do I not dare tell him? What you have to know...
Are there? Some of the other things are pretty bad.
Of course not. I didn't mean to say my situation discredits the field. Either way, I should go. Poor Morell is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary. Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered.
Really?
Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morell. Okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road, Jamrock, but... You too, sweetie. Thank you for everything, truly.
A waste of time. A fool's hope. Say her lips moving in silence. Like that, she drives off. The gas engine sputters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside the cold.
We should go too.
Пора куда? Учитывая наши задачи, блядь, я хуй знает. У нас по основному заданию-то что? Узнать, блядь, номер номера. Найдите запись с мелодией для Икамона. Хуя себе, блядь. Это вот это. Нахуя? А это, блядь, не пойми где. А это хуй знает как. Вот вам, блядь, и пиздец.
You see a heavy steel door, the old cobalt paint, rough on the fingers. 40, 50 years, it leads to a side building, adjacent to this one. The old building next to this, half ruined. Whatever is behind it must be older. The door does not budge.
Заебися.
The man ponders his cooking utensils.
Как упасть? Чел.
Hey.
Well, well. Bringing him that new bird sure made a difference in his attitude.
Another thing. Great. Yes?
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time? I am not.
You could be Liz. You could be anything.
Even a mod? Glenn, I went to law school. I am an attorney.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Так, к этим я даже подходить не буду. Ну вот, по идее, должно вести куда-то в это здание. ебаное.
Looking for something?
Ой, да ладно, иди нахер. Туда пройти нельзя, да?
Is this about the questions again? 'Cause a warehouse? I don't know.
She scrunched.
Fine. For it.
Бутылки у меня есть. Насобирал кучу.
The tear machine stands. Your bottles clunk into.
Hola, wandering man. How can I help?
Так, тут-то мне все сделано, да ведь?
The file cabinet stands steady as ever. The drawer slot. A common office radio, like any of those found in countless.
There's usually a little switch somewhere. Ah, yes, it's the one that says release.
The lock disengages with a nice click. You may now safely remove that. There's nothing obviously remarkable about it. It's about the size of a common pasta box. If this transceiver were a person, it would be an accountant at a large logistics firm. Perfectly competent, but unexceptional.
Yes, reliable and unassuming are definitely.
Regardless, the transceiver appears to take your words as a compliment.
You've surprised me more than once during the course of our investigation. But I have to say, it still seems like a remote.
There's nothing obviously remarkable about it. If this transceiver were a person.
Very good.
The transceiver appears with its transceiver.
Блять. Окей. Слушай, жирный.
The unpromising raise pupil. There is nothing funky. I cannot post.
Преграждай дорогу, собака. Было, ладно.
An old monument stands in. A lorry abandoned.
Хотя почему бы не открыть?
A lorry abandoned. The smell of... There's something odd about the passenger seat.
Можно еще здесь.
The seating fabric has been pulled tight over the lowest. It takes a few moments, but eventually nearly the same sound produced by as you take the transceiver in your hands. The lieutenant bites.
Funny, isn't it?
Ой.
Oh, I didn't mean that. It's just ironic that you are using the lady driver's radio to contact the very authorities you are...
Where the radio used to be, there's just a rectangular shadow now. It's about the size of a small... That's the mark of Estat. The movie stars are still... You close the rust...
Отлично, теперь у меня целых 2 передатчика. Мультимодальный передатчик. Охуенно. Больше передатчиков, больше передатчиков. Третий колонкат, нормально?
No, man. You called me.
Ладно, если не есть бабло, мы можем сотворить хуйню. Да, блядь, двигай жопой. Чё, ты на меня все еще дуешься, правильно?
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
Эмпатия минус 4. А, вот то миллион. Понятно. Эмпатию минус 4 я, наверное, не преодолею. До 13-то. Прям вообще никак.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Still no word, I'm afraid, sir. I know it must be frustrating. Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers.
То есть, как говорится, вообще не сегодня, да? Где китаец? Вот он. Ладно, китаец. Хотя, может и кореец.
You keep coming back. That's good, officer.
Самообладание плюс
Keep
1,
browsing
трепет плюс
those
1.
clothes, keep saving that economy.
Допустим.
Gotta prepare for springtime, right?
You find the box.
Economical, but...
Где это, блядь, счастье? Защита от непогоды минус 1. Не горячись, самообладание, блядь, пиздец. Давай, выкупаем шмот.
The speakers below are banged up and
Скорость реакции
worthless.
плюс
The
координация.
sneakers triumph over them. They're the star of the
Стоит
show
50.
here.
Ай, в рот тебя ебать.
Super cool! Now the premium lifestyle is yours, officer.
The sneakers seem to vibrate in your hands with an almost mystical energy.
The junk is yours, officer. Happy listening. Try not...
Грабитель блядский.
The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100% guaranteed.
Сука, давай на все деньги.
A good starter. A man who knows his style. Much respect. Everything's still cool here, officer. Tapes? You mean like music tapes? No, music is out. Don't listen to music. I sell tapes. Tapes are everywhere. They're worthless. Kids throw them in the trees. There's one in the bushes, right behind this lorry.
Он в кустах за грузовиком, например.
No one would ever throw a good pair of high-quality plastic sunglasses in the bushes, mister.
You should have a look. It's better than nothing.
Вон в кустах за грузовиком, например. Вон в кустах за грузовиком. Кусты. А, понял. А, нихуя. Себе, блядь.
The hawthorn tree on Rue de Songes Lane. Bronze-colored ribbons of magnetic tape are caught in its branches. Patting the tree reveals a small sticker which has almost been worn to oblivion. It reads, RCM Emergencies Desk, number 8100. You tree-hugging pansy. The bronze ribbon twists around and within the branches in an intricately natural pattern. But there's something. There's a twisted logic in this mess. You see the ends of the ribbon, the way it flows, how it twists and turns. It's all starting to make sense. It'll be easier to remove now. With slow and deliberate motions, pulling, bending and unraveling, it curls up into a mess inside your pocket. If only you could find a way to respool it, so that you could hear what's on the tape. Maybe Roy from the pawn shop can help you with this.
What's the tape for? How? It's broken and unspooled. Do you think your new buddy knows how to fix it? You could also get it fixed at the pawn shop across the street.
Good idea. He might have the tools. The tape projector.
Охуеть, а чё, я сам не могу? Скорость реакции, сцепления. Координация твердой опоры. Энциклопедия, никаких объяснений. Сука, говно. Электрохимия. Крушит Джек. Суицидальный настрой. Заявись. Зрение морского чудища. Душа морского чудища. Ой, блядь. О, да, детка. Нехуй взаимодействовать не с чем, не знаю с чем. Точнее. Вот, блядь, пленка, что я не могу?
The portal reel is just what you needed. The
это
reel.
да. Зачем вообще было их покупать? У них нет ничего. Опаньки. Они стоят 30-ку. Это просто отстой звуки, которые они исторгают. Лишь жалко подобие. Просто загнать их за новичку. Слушай, гениально. Спасибо. Медно-красная пленка. А катушку я продал, да? Я, сука, ебаный гений, да? Так. Я дебилю. Так, ладно, колонки предлагают загнать нахуй. Неужели я в натуре катушку загнал? Баран. А, что это? Мусор лежит. Почему нельзя поднять? Опаньки, это что за хуйня? Поступь, ничего. Веческая. Все страннее и страннее, ребятушки. Все страннее и страннее. Ладно. Я тебе катушку продал. Хочу ее обратно.
Hello, hello.
Let me know if I can help you with anything. You mean Reese Foley? Yeah, I do, but I'm not some Mr. Fix-It. I'm a pawnbroker. If you want to pawn the tape, sure. Or the...
Just explain why you need this so much. He's bound to understand.
Huh? What do you mean? Yes, what about it? Is it any good? The music, I mean. Man, you're really invested in this. Okay, I'll help you out. It's going to take a moment, though, so just sit back.
You take some time to look around the store. The play of visuals all around the pawn shop is meant, you know, these visuals would look super cool in the church.
Yeah, I bet they would. All those lights in a sanctuary filled with hand-picked positive photons. There would be no room for sadness in such a place. It's a brilliant vision. I rather like it here, too. So yeah, I'm not giving you my projector. This tape is all I can do for you and your friend's nightclub project. Yeah, it was. Respooling isn't that difficult. Although, anyhow, it's yours now. Yeah, my pleasure. I'll do what I can for true passion projects. Just try not to use this tape for negative photon emissions. Take responsibility. Sure, let me have a look. I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Давай загоним. Или нет? Ну, катушку я Теперь я вообще ничего не понимаю. Я не знаю. Но тут само по себе говорят, что нужно, блядь, загнать колонки. Ладно, загоню. Что, нельзя? Не понял. А, вот.
Another time, perhaps.
All the old boom. A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps.
Купить уличный фонарь, блядь, за 700. Нужно сильно разбогатеть.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets. This set of...
I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. I don't like either set very much, to be honest.
Ладно, вот тебе компот. У тебя уже все куплено. Окей. Что-то упускаю, по-моему. Коридор... Да я не знаю, как это сделать. Это тоже. Белые проверки. Да, конечно. Блять, я заблудился опять. Давай, сломай дверь нахуй теперь.
Yes, what is it? Ah, very good. Let's see what you have.
Сразу продвинутый.
Interesting. An Esterhaz EH4, heavily customized. This is an advanced model, highly capable. I'll need...
She's impressed by your resourcefulness.
I believe that means we're ready to get started. I should warn you, once we begin setting up this... So if there's anything you'd like to get in order before we depart, I suggest you do it now. Ah, yes. I wasn't sure what to do about that, but then I discovered that...
It's obvious. She's referring to your half-sunken Caprice 40.
Oh, yes. I did notice that it was covered in police livery. Then you already know that the carriage itself is irreparable. But the rear-mounted engines, my intention is to run a power cable from the engine up to the antenna. It won't last forever, but it should give us enough time to establish a connection with Coalition. That's up to you. At a minimum, I would make sure you are physically and mentally prepared for an intense...
At the very least, you should make sure you're wearing a good pair of gloves.
Radio engineers typically carry overpriced solvent sprays to clean the antenna connections. But in a pinch, some common ammonia works just fine. Finally, there's the question of stimulants. Some people prefer to keep legal amphetamines on hand to help with their work. I'm not one of them, but they do exist. It is possible that technical fields attract a certain kind of personality. I haven't given it much thought. That's fine. Return to me when you're ready to go.
Но у меня нет нихуя вот на вот из этого. Более само по себе здоровье ко мне. Так. Давай попробуем с хардкором туда пока.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore! Yeah! Remix time! Tape goes here, into deck B.
hand on his ear, he listens to the...
Wow! Did you get this from Arno himself? Listen, I'm just going to show it to you. Full assault! It would...
What is this? It's good. How did you guys do that?
Yes, but what if Van Eyck based his remix on some forgotten local melody, like a folk song, and you just found the original piece that inspired him to create this jam? That would explain why it fits.
Nah, to me it sounds like classic Van Eyck. I don't think he needs any inspiration from folk songs. Maybe he lives in Martinez and just threw away...
I think it's just happenstance. Chaos in action. Contingencies of our limited existence.
Noid's right. Egghead's technical talent is the key. No, this is definitely part of the same song. Something cut from it. It fits too well.
Сука. Техника говорит одно, логика говорит другое. Как это вообще понимать? Как, блядь, тут вообще работать? Кого я слушаю, технику или логику, да? Одной и той же песни. Блять. Да, блять, хуй знает. Ну, допустим. Нет, то, что живет, не значит, что он здесь живет. Пленку разбросать кто мог? Дело случая? Нет.
Be how it may, if it fits, it fits. Bring up the volume.
What about the bass? Do you have any ideas for that? Yeah, I'll remember.
I think you might know the answer. What about that compressor Andre was setting up to achieve some sort of parallel processing?
Don't be too hard on yourself if you don't figure it out. I think the jam's already pretty old.
But it could be hyper hardcore!
Че, серьезно? Блять, я буду тратить на вот именно это очень много времени. Чего? Техника только перчатки дает? Да вы гоните, блядь. Че, серьезно? Я вроде бы все, что можно было выкупить, выкупил. Ту-ту, ту-ту, ту-ту. Понял вас. Ладно, эквилибристику-то смогу хотя бы показать, на что способен.
Oh, hey man, it's good to see you.
4 из 18.
Goodbye, officer.
Думаю, нет. Думаю, нет. Пиздец. Химик из меня заебательский, блядь, походу будет. Fuck that. Да, они дают скорость реакции, а не эквилибристику.
Oh, hey man, it's good to see you. Goodbye, officer.
Welcome back.
А, это все, что мне дает скорость реакции, правильно. Боже. Шмоток много, талантов еще больше. И не хватает. Все, блядь. И это... Что нам дает? Нихуя не дает, правильно?
Welcome back.
Да. Идем нахуй. Дружным шагом. Запускать всю эту хуету опять? Либо идти... Да уж. Для респонсибле? Не могу. Не знаю. Завтра получается. О, поднимать авторитет в Техарде, конечно, можно посходить. Это я хуй знает где. Время еще не пришло. А... Да, танцует, конечно, четко. В любом случае, мне нужно что-то, чтобы, блять, восстанавливать здоровье. Прикупить. Таран, таран. Ну, блять, на выход. Сюда, мразь. Строили кубешник. То есть намотал пленку на катушку, причем намотал на пленку на катушку, которая не моя. Чудеса. Чудесно. Там кто-то заселился, правильно? Я что-то мимо все время хожу. А там у нас ни хера все заколочено. Пабжи, как обычно. Что-то опускаю. О, да, я могу прокачать полицейскую волну еще разочек. Благодаря тому, что я выучил какой-то заебучий талант. Но про вопрос, где мне столько очков опыта взять? Блять, я столько не зарабатываю. Да вы гоните. Туда беги. Угу. Хорошо. Расхуярим авторитетом Кита Харди. И попытаемся не получить по роже. Угу. Какой хороший. А у меня вообще есть авторитет. Здесь только то, что уменьшает авторитет. Да вы гоните! Ну да, вот почему я не мог его расшибить авторитетом, потому что у меня нет его. Куча всего есть, а авторитета нет. Может, это визуальный анализ?
Behind the dockworkers, you see 2, maybe 3 bushes grown into a single thicket over a period of circa 50 years. It takes time for a hedge like that to form. The door is closed. This door still the lieutenant.
уезжает с собаками. Куда пошли в магазин за медикаментами? У меня больше вариантов вообще нет, получается. Ну, есть еще подумать. Вот она стоит там наверху. Ху-ху-ху. Где-то тут есть вход. Вход. Наверное. Внизу. Зу-зу-зу. Но я не вижу нихуя я. Либо вот через эту хуйню. Саранчу не вылезла. Не понял. Ну и чё, и где? Почему я не могу камеры посмотреть как-нибудь в ту степь или что-нибудь нажать его? Так сделать. Боль. Жизнь, боль. Ладно, съебываем. Да, у нас тут еще тетенька есть.
Hello again, esteemed officer. And what?
А, что, пакет? Да, пакет.
The barbell waits patiently on the floor.
Это много. 14 много. Возможно, в этой игре следует качать только то, что ты изначально качаешь, а остальным просто идти нахер. А, да, и куда побежал-то? Я что там хотела на меня?
Oh, it's you again.
Трепет.
Are you looking for a die?
Плюс 2 за то, что я нашел прореху. Так. Трепет. Очков на трепет нету. И шапок на трепет нету. Ну, допустим.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
Трепет 3? Секунду. Как так? Что так мало? Плюс 2 трепету. Да? Это все. Я просрал трепет ради изучения хуйни. Чудеса на виражах. Все стало только сложнее гораздо. Вследствие чего непонятно. Еще я не знаю про какую-то серость. Так. На выход. Давно не болтал с тетенькой на причале, правда? Может, у нее есть какие-то парочка идиотских мыслей. Этого раньше не было. А ничего то, что у меня есть инструменты, например, один вот такой. Другой вот такой. Yo.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Вот если нужно бежать за лекарствами, и все уже не выебываться больше. Больше никто ничего не скажет.
You're back. Good. What can I help?
Но... Прикольно, когда разные вещи по-разному говорят, совет дают. Техника дает совет один, логика говорит совет другой. Выбирай. И там успех. Если они друг дружке противоречат, значит кто-то из них ошибается.
The dented yellow
Уже это
mailbox
успех.
greets you with its graffiti.
Где мой пакетик? Мой пакетик, блядь. Бегать идти совсем штрафами. Ни одного штрафа не написано.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint-Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
А мне нет, что ли, настырного спирта, ну допустим. Не, на боевой дух мне хватает. Три на 9. Так будет дешевле, но я не смогу его использовать. Потому что когда у меня будет 0 здоровья, я тупо сдохну. Шампунь с настырным спиртом. Есть все, кроме того, что нужно. Сигареты. Алкоголь. Амфетамины. Охуеть, блядь.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with...
Okay, don't, like, overdo it or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
Better or something. Можно еще, пожалуйста.
Okay, here.
И
I hope.
еще.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
Надеюсь, не хватит.
To the left of some croissants and juice
нихуя.
bottles, you see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf. One is missing. The one you legally purchased.
Потому что ты законно приобрел, понятно.
A colorful display of the bottles wink at you in the light. The smokes too glitter in their wrapping. It's like looking into a kind of heaven.
Все, тут ловить больше нет. Все верно. Все верно. Закидываемся говном, идем. Получается так. Все, больше вариантов нуля. Слишком сильные проверки у них. Хотя, может, я с этим еще позарить. Может, вы хотя бы что-нибудь скажете. Заебали.
The purity of snow.
Вряд ли.
It is such a pleasure to see you again. Sweet, sweet Jenny. Of course, of it.
Чё? Бегом, блядь. Fuck that. Да бегом. Пройдешь, куда пойдешь. Все. Свяжемся нахуя-то ради ля респонси... Короче, пизду. Вроде как готов. Так, вроде уже никак идет, но вроде нет.
Yes, what is it? Very good. If you'll help me...
Back across the water now. At least we are getting our exercise in today.
If you'll please carry that amplifier, officer, and if you'll take that spool of cable, we should be able to move it all in one trip.
Охуеть. Гениально, блять, через удлинители. Че, дощечками приложили? Под ковер бросили кабель? Сука, кабелеукладчик из вас, конечно, Ох, нихуя себе, чё за... Ебать вы... Сона, ты ненормальная, блядь, вообще? Отлично, все, конец. На этом игра повисла. Привет пираткам. Нет. Ну, диалог-то будет, нет?
And now if you'll just connect that here...
It's done. I believe we are ready.
We're ready to try at least. Please put on these headphones. There should be 2 extra sets. I've configured the channels so that only your microphone is set to You will need to transmit your connection request while I attempt to locate the warship's public frequency. You will likely encounter some interference, but it's important to keep transmitting your request until you're acknowledged. Ready? Then it will be exactly like every other moment of every other day. I ask again, are you ready? Good. Beginning transmission. Go ahead, officer.
Is there anybody there? The lieutenant looks up at you with a nervous glance. Nervous for who, though? You cannot say.
Что?
Try again, officer.
Perhaps you're simply imagining it, but it seems as though you're learning to pull apart the fibers of this auditory felt. You focus on one strand and...
Nein, Liebling, das lasse ich nicht zu. Die kannst du unseren Jungen bloß auf einen dieser Dinger nach Bredefort schicken. Marianne, mir erzählt, dass Oscar nicht mehr, seit er auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist. Psychologen für vollkommen normal.
You can't make out a word of this gibberish.
Охуеть, мне все проебывается, блять.
The rustling of dry autumn leaves, waves breaking at a distance, 1,000 wings beating at once.
Liebling, bitte.
It isn't gibberish, it's vulgar. Now please keep trying. Again?
It's cold now.
Уже остыл. Да, ты про воздух, да, холодает?
Mention what? I didn't say anything, detective.
Someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Чё, блядь?
An uncomfortable silence falls over the connection.
It's been a long winter. Long and cold.
I can assure you it's not my twin brother, though it certainly does sound like me.
I can't say with certainty, but it sounds very much like anthroponetic crosstalk. It happens sometimes when sending transmissions across long...
Ah, yes, of course. That must be it.
Outwardly, they both exude calm, but there's something pale, seems to be missing from your records.
Natürlich halten ihn die Psychologen für vollkommen normal.
What else is there to do? Keep trying.
But someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Dubois, please acknowledge.
Liebling, bitte. Ist unser einziges Kind.
Where's she back, sir? Please identify.
The signals are getting increasingly mixed. Plucking Archer's signal from this will be like isolating a single strand.
It's not working. The crosstalk is simply too strong. I did not expect simply locating the signal to be so difficult. We must consider several variables. Local entroponetic conditions, the sophistication of our transceiver, the quality of our... Fortunately, we have a more than adequate transceiver. And we're also unlikely to change our local entroponetic conditions. So, the next step is to thoroughly inspect our connections. You need to climb up there and look at them for yourself.
But you don't have the technical expertise.
Someone has been maintaining it.
Something about this setup seems dimly familiar, but you'll be damned if you know what you're supposed to do about it.
That's true, but I can't leave my station, so it will have to be you. Then you might break your neck.
Сука, вот это уже пиздец начался.
Your gloves give you a solid grip on the metal bar. This feels pleasing. You don't exactly cut a lithesome figure, but after several moments of scrambling, you manage to hoist yourself atop the monument.
Я не знаю, что по-английски пизданул. Там всадник был без головы, тут лошадь без головы. Хуя ты психопат, блядь. Может, ты держаться будешь? Ага, руку.
That performance was frankly an embarrassment.
You're doing all right, Detective. Just keep your focus on the task at hand.
The connection itself is nothing more than a little braid of exposed wire wrapped about the hoof of the horse. A copper fetter it cannot. The whole monument is covered in a thin but durable layer of oil and grime. It's obvious no one has cleaned it. The programmer mentioned ammonia, but anything alcoholic should dissolve the oils, creating a cleaner and clearer connection. Almost immediately, the ammonia begins breaking down the oils.
Glad that stuff came in handy after all.
Ah, very good, officer.
Once the oils have been dissolved, you wipe off the connections with your sleeve and reattach the cable.
It seems to have made some difference. unser einziges Kind. Er kann doch auch nächstes Jahr zur Akademie gehen.
Short of changing the shape of the antenna, I'm not sure what else we can do from here. And the lorries are all jammed together, so that's unlikely to happen.
Глупый вопрос.
What do you mean? You adjust the antenna manually. With your hand. Ideally, narrow the receiving mode so that we can isolate the warship signal and eliminate the crosstalk. But if you don't know what you're doing, of course you could just make it worse. I'm afraid we're out of alternatives. You're just going to...
She's right. The responsibility is yours, and yours alone. There's no turning back now. You are face to face with Philip III. The Bronze King looks toward the west. Something about his features seems bizarrely distorted. This faithful steed is in nearly as poor a condition as its rider. A clear night sky. The stars make for a brilliant display. Across the river, you can see the lights of Coalition warship Archer floating above Rivershore East. A few of the idle lorry drivers and strikebreakers gesture at you with their cigarettes, more out of curiosity than anything else. From the window of one of the adjacent apartment buildings, an older woman leans out. Her heavy breath, she yells a single word you can't make out, and then shuts the window with a violent thunk.
Сука, мразь. Ладно. Я думаю, это была неудача, правильно?
You allow the broken hunk of metal to clatter to the ground. It wasn't clear to you it did anything anyway.
Nein, Liebling! What are you doing? The connection is even worse now. This is extremely unprofessional. But you didn't. You made things worse.
She's right. This was...
Damn it. I'm going to push the power supply. I doubt it will last more than a few minutes, so you'd better make them count.
A maelstrom of sound, swirling and swirling.
Nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit er auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz...
It's too much. Your eardrums are throbbing, about to burst.
A long winter, long and cold.
And then, nothing.
Try it now. This is Warship Archer. We are acknowledging and accepting you. This is the best we can do. I suggest you get to your business quickly. I doubt I'll be able to maintain even this connection very long.
There is so much you wish you could ask, but you probably only have time for 1 or 2 questions before the signal is lost.
Please be advised that you are speaking on a public frequency. What is your request? Acknowledged. To reach the committee, all you need to do is fill out the appropriate request form and submit it to the liaison for public affairs. If the liaison accepts your request, you will be invited to address the committee at their next quarterly public hearing. We believe the next hearing is scheduled for July.
Вообще без шансов, понятно.
We're afraid that is quite impossible, Lieutenant Dubois. We cannot transfer you to the committee because we are not entrusted with that responsibility. We are simply the second signaler. That is the nature of the command pyramid, yes. Most modern organizations...
This line of argument is quite pointless. You should abandon it.
Not a problem. If this is a time-sensitive matter, you may file an emergency address request with the liaison for... They typically respond within a few weeks.
Пиздец.
What part of need to reach the committee doesn't she understand? Time to lay it all out.
We will hear your request, Lieutenant Dubois.
That's only because they haven't heard about your problems yet.
Пиздец.
So, you're experiencing acute memory loss.
Good God, here we go.
We're afraid we don't understand at all. What does this something have to do with your lost memory? Unfortunately, we cannot accept your request. Now, please excuse us while we update the receiving frequency.
Quick, hang up on her first.
Ну ладно, хуй с ним.
And the line there, you really showed her. Showed her what, though?
Знает что.
The lieutenant gives a long sigh as he...
I think it's best for you to climb off the statue now, Detective. Your real work is down here.
The sun-warmed bronze tingles beneath your fingertips and between your thighs. You look around. The strikebreakers are still shouting their slogans and waving their hand-painted signs. There's really no point. You're beginning to feel like the little child who refuses to come down off the carousel.
Good. Now give me a hand with these amplifiers. Leave the cables. I don't feel like making 2 trips.
What's one more trip across the waterlock?
Well, this was an interesting collaboration. You decapitated our antenna. No, I do not think it's a good idea. In any event, just leave that equipment here. I'll put it away later. If you'd like it now, you'll excuse me.
Заебись. Все. Как бы привет. Только Лилиан рыбачка осталась. Для этого нужно избавиться от товарища Кима. Штанга. Ну, я столько грубой силы не наберу. Сейчас какие-то цифры пошли, блядь, просто лютые. Наушники-то еще и одежда. Скорость реакции, повторите. Ну просто где еще и как получить опыт? Осталось 8 минут. Я не знаю. Я столько не получаю опыта, чтобы вкачиваться. Конкретно. А бонусы от другой фигни не такие уж прям издатые, в отличие от их минусов. Ладно. 22:36. Последнее, что остается, это тарам-парам-пам. Доебаться до морячки.
It's getting late and it's snowing. Time to call it a day.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shop.
Хуяка выйти. Хитрый пиздюк. Так. Что ж, замуж не втерпёшь. Ну и где? Блин, где оно, сука? Наряжаемся как дебилы. Время пришло. Что, блин? Как это? Блять, как это должно сочетаться, блять. +1 трепет дает, блять, охуенная майка. +1 трепет дает ебаный галстук, сука. На эту майку этот галстук, блять, просто... Он не то что не идет, это, блять, ну пиздец полный. Просто какой-то пиздец. Итого я получаю трепет +3. Визуальный анализ. А очки у меня разве нет пиздатых очков? Эмпатия минус логика. Хуй с ним. С мусорным пакетом, это, конечно, сильно, блять. Подойдем с мусорным пакетом. Ладно, здрасте.
Waves are beginning to die down.
А, там внушение.
These little bastards. Simmer down, bastards.
Чудно, блять. Я думал, трепет нужен. Баран! Тогда у меня шансов вообще нет. Что-то кому-то внушить. Лучше, сука, так. А, и все. Это все, на что я могу рассчитывать, да. Что-то маловато.
Waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards.
Да почему так стало много-то везде?
Simmer down, bastards.
До этого же были достаточно неплохие шансы. Из 15, блядь. Понятно все. Шел я нахуй, короче. Спать.
It's getting late and an old mirror hangs on the wall. On the table, you see a bowl of water.
Ладно.
The bed is comforting, if the bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you, it digs into your brain.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped and...
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people. And then forgets about it.
Hear that? Iceman wants to sleep. He doesn't care about killing people. That's nothing to him. Blackwater is much, much worse than that.
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad. We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremor.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
Oh, but you will. You're already going there. Slipping. How long can we keep you from the precipice of hell? An ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later.
Everything is so okay. Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the church.
Опять ты. Проснулся сидя, чудно. Чё, еще 8 минут не прошло? Охуеть, прикольно, ладно. Пойдет. Вопросов, ответов хуй. Возможностей тоже хуй. Интересно. Интересно, заманчиво, интересно. Мне чё, блядь, с малопроцентными... Да здрасте. Хуёвинами иметь дело. Пошли к машине. Я, блядь, не знаю нахуй больше, что делать. Пойти к машине, позвонить по поводу запчастей, блядь, и забить хуй уже. Дальнейшие действия, мне кажется, не суразными совсем. Мы собрали антенну, разобрали антенну. Мы молодцы. Нахуя? Там нужно было... Какие-то завышенные у них требования начались. Ты чего, чувак, на скамейку пересел? Ну, здрасте.
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same. The prick is gone. I can barely believe it.
He is trying to retain his jolly facade, but the underlying sadness casts a deep shadow over his wrinkled face.
Hell, most likely. He was an absolute Kent. His hungry little heart finally gave out. The dock workers found him in the guard booth this morning. Wasn't even supposed to be working for...
Wait, did he push himself to prove he can pull his weight and doesn't need handouts?
Guess he was about to head home, cause when the dock workers found him, he was wearing civilian clothes and not the Kuketu uniform I saw him in all the time. Sometimes I thought he was wearing it just to piss me off. Now the joke's on him. Oh.
That means the uniform could still be in the guard booth. Something to keep in mind if you really plan to give yourself the reversal.
No. René was the most stubborn man in Revachol. Nothing you or I could say would ever push him to do anything. The man was completely immovable. I repeat, an absolute Kent. Even his old army buddies didn't want him. The only people who could stand to be around him were Jenny and me. She saw something in him, and she never lost sight of it. And I thought if the most beautiful being in the world can love him, then there must be something worse. All we've hated each other our entire lives. So much, in fact, that... Yes, I loved that angry prick. He didn't deserve it, but I did. You know what his last words to me were? In Guillaume's time, you'd have been shot without trial. That's what he said to me. He lived a Kant, and he died a Kant. Let's leave it at that. I took them for myself. Took them to remember that old Kant. Nobody knew him better than...
Strange how old cunt sounds almost gentle when he says it now.
Let me see. This was 60 years ago. We all went to that parade. Young René looked so happy. And I'm sorry, officer. I just... Thank you.
That was nice. A small thing for us, but invaluable to him. He probably didn't even know René had the photo.
Охуенно, блять.
Yes. We are both very...
It is what it is. Part of life, really. But to know someone for 79 years, I just don't know anymore. About anything, really. But you must need something. Yes? What about René?
Yes.
It is, I just don't know anymore. About anything, really. But you must need something.
Guillaume Le Million. Bad news. Guillaume Le Million did not become a cop. In 1938, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite. Paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Trainer single, Wonderland, skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning.
Ебать. Гийом Лемильон. Ой, блядь, не посмотрел бонусы. Сука. Ага. Лимит всех навыков повышается на 1. Чудно. То есть я повышаю лимиты всех навыков на 1. Болевой порог. Плюс 1. Чудно. А? Охуенно. Болевой порог. Нужен мне сейчас болевой порог. Как коту яйца.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Still no word, I'm afraid, sir. I know it must be frustrating. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? 57.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers, a radio on a hook, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
Перезвоните Алисе на следующий день.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
На следующий день.
Still no word at 57.
In the cabin.
Why? Ладно, на этом нужно сохраниться. И пока закончить.